appearance, costume, and LGBTQ plus identities on the Eurovision stage. Professor Pantuovaki, the floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for this invitation. It's a very interesting symposium, and I want to specifically thank my colleague, Professor Katerina Nina Simoncic. And it's also great to see other colleagues, Professor Gezi earlier, and then Mateja, who is going to talk later today. It's a very interesting topic, and I'm going to take you to another aspect of it with my talk, which is related to the performing arts, live and also mediated. Actually, the example comes from popular culture in a way. And I don't know how much the students, are familiar with Eurovision. It's still on. It has different identity compared to many years ago. In earlier generations, it was one of the only things you could have on television. Now there are so many other things that you can have online, and television maybe is not as important as it used to be. So I hope you're partly familiar. My background is in set design and costume design for theater, especially, and live performance. So I'm going to talk not so much from the fashion perspective, but actually from the costume perspective. Yeah, and I'm going to share my screen because I've got a lot of images. The talk has a lot of images to keep going. So let me do that first. There we go. I believe you can see the full screen now. Or is it not there yet? Okay. So, talking about the Eurovision stage, we talk about the Eurovision Song Contest, a type of spectacle, we would say, that merges music, performance, and costume into a singular cultural phenomenon. Since 1956, or when it first started, Eurovision has evolved into one of the most watched televised events globally. And sorry, I'm trying to. So it draws hundreds of millions of viewers each year. Each act is carefully orchestrated, with every element, including costume design, playing a crucial role in reinforcing the intended and artistic message, the telling of a short story, often entailing social or political commentary. Eurovision performances remain memorable, often long after the competition ends, with costume design playing a crucial role. This is an example from 2012, Sweden. Costumes in the Eurovision Song Contest are more than just fashion garments worn on stage. They are integral components of the musical acts, resonating with audiences across Europe and beyond. Despite their distinctive aesthetics and often excessively flamboyant character, frequently dismissed and even considered a spectacle of embarrassment, costumes function in Eurovision as performative and communicative tools on multiple levels. This is an example from Spain, 2008. They reflect personal or national and cultural identities, and they embody themes, stories, and emotions. They are sewn, stitched, and embellished with symbolism, and as they magnetize our gaze, we are pulled further into the performance, as noted by fashion editor Sophie Axon. Costumes in Eurovision altogether enhance the conceptual framework of the musical performance through bodily design, amplifying the performer's presence. By doing so, they elevate the act beyond music alone, transforming it into a multidimensional, audiovisual, and multisensorial experience that resonates with both live audiences and viewers at home. While scholars have explored Eurovision's impact on politics, the economy, national identity, nation branding, cultural relations, fandom, and popular music, the backstage production and delivery of Eurovision have been researched much less. This is an example of the previous, which is Australia 2019, which had a spectacular backstage, very interesting and not so known. So beyond the wealth of articles on Eurovision stage costumes in popular media, now we have presentation of costumes from Eurovision on fashion magazines, blogs, newspapers, and social media. However, scholarly engagement with costume in the competition remains relatively sparse. Within the existing academic discourse, costume design in the context of Eurovision is usually approached from the lens of fashion theory and gender studies, which is relating to what we're talking about today, focusing on identity construction and gender representations, and critically examining the appearance of bodily identities, diverse bodily identities. And here is an image from Spain's act from 2024. However, in addition to these approaches, costume in the Eurovision Song Contest needs to analyze within its field-specific, performance-oriented, and collaborative context. So here you see a very old example from 1981, where I have a series of screenshots where you can see the movement of taking off the skirt as part of the act. Yeah, so you see the sequence there. The competitions, and it's from UK, is one of those old iconic acts from Eurovision. The competition's format requires that performers capture audience attention within a span of a 3-minute song. Costume plays a crucial role in achieving this. It contributes to each short spatio-temporal performance event, the song, ultimately shaping the contest's overall performative aesthetics. Costume design evolves alongside and in relation to the other elements of the performance, the music, the movement, the space and the lighting, and takes concrete form through bodily design, material and technological innovation. I'm showing here an example from Russia, 2016, where costume itself is very plain, as you can see, yes, black. But the presence of the character, the presence of the performer on stage is extended through technology with those wings. Therefore, costume has agency in both visual and conceptual terms in the creation of the Eurovision musical performance. There is a lot to explore in the vibrant history and evolution of costume design in the Eurovision Song Contest, tracing its journey from post-war elegance to contemporary spectacles of fashion, identity, and technology. This is another example involving technology where we have a second performer through this interactive projection, yes, from Sweden, 2010, several years ago. Through such analysis, it is possible to highlight pivotal moments, cultural shifts, and innovative trends, identifying styles, aesthetics of representation, and bodily expressions over the decades. Costume design remains a largely undercredited collaborative practice. By foregrounding costume as a material and mediated interface between body, technology, and narrative, my talk argues that Eurovision offers a case study for understanding how contemporary European identities are constructed, negotiated, and displayed through costume. And this is from the same act of Sweden, where you can see the development of the projection and also part of it mapping on the body of the performer. So costumes in Eurovision reflect contemporary trends, contemporary in the sense of the time when the context takes place. Yeah, so we see an example of the 70s act from ABBA. Yeah, one of the classics. trends from fashion, as well as broader social and cultural shifts and evolving technological and aesthetic transformations. Certain defining characteristics have emerged in Eurovision costume design over the decades. Extravagance, theatricality, and an embrace of kitsch and camp aesthetics are recurring themes, manifesting the contest's celebratory and often rebellious nature. Eurovision costumes also frequently incorporate sequins, feathers, tassels, crystals, metallic fabrics, lace, satin, and tulle, and propose avant-garde silhouettes that heighten the spectacle of the song's dual live and mediated performances. What we see is rather mainstream here, not avant-garde, the specific examples, but I want to show one of the examples in which in the same year you can see the singers wearing very similar, very spectacular, let's say, but very common in a way, costumes. And here we see from left to right, Moldova, Croatia, Cyprus, Malta, and Albania, yeah, all in silver sequins. Numerous acts over the years, including the latest contest years, exemplify this overall vibrant trend, captured and reproduced through edited videos online and on social media. The Eurovision itself put the spotlight on costumes in 2020. The year when the live show was cancelled due to the COVID-19 pandemic via the official Eurovision Song Contest YouTube channel, which presented an edited video of a selection of memorable costumes. You can see here a screenshot of that video. It has several costumes, memorable Eurovision costumes and dresses, with the comment, quote, "From fall costumes to beautiful dresses, from superhero suits to penguins, the contest has seen many different styles." I want to comment that it's interesting that when activity ends, costumes come to the fore. We have the example of Eurovision here, when it didn't happen. It turned to costume and performance in video. We also have examples, for example, from the period in which actors were not were on strike in Hollywood, when suddenly costume designers became to the fore. For example, Poor Things, the film. Yeah, so how you work with the medium of costume, promoting the work, the performing arts work itself. As noted by fashion and lifestyle writer Lauren Ramsey, quote, "From kitschy to couture, the spectrum of style is as diverse as the music itself, in a celebration of creativity, individuality, and the bold spirit of performers from around the world." Nevertheless, while Eurovision is usually associated with elaborate costumes, simplicity in the act's costume design has been equally present and expressive in more subtle ways. This is an example from Portugal, the winner of 2017, Salvador Sobral, very plainly dressed. And another example is from the Netherlands, 2013, Anouk, also very, very plain. So it would not be possible to study Eurovision costume without at least briefly addressing its role in gender representation. This is an area where there is continued and more actively growing scholarly discussion. Costumes in the Eurovision Song Contest function as powerful vehicles for expressing, of course, as we said, diverse identities, but also engaging with gender norms and invoking national and popular culture across a pan-European stage. The example here is a commentary on same-sex marriage, and it was part of Finland's performance in 2013, ending with a kiss at the end of the song. So the singer, the performer, is getting married to another female person. The Eurovision stage enables performers to experiment with self-presentation in ways that transcend rigid gender binaries, embodying fluid and non-normative identities. As Paul Jordan observes, Eurovision has long been a contested space of cultural politics where national and personal identities intersect. Through costuming, Eurovision offers a spectacle of identity in flux, allowing performers to claim visibility of non-normative expressions of gender, culture, and individuality. Here, expressed through the group Måneskin, yes, from 2021, winner of that year. A key moment in Eurovision's history occurred when Dana International's victory in 1998. Her performance symbolized both personal pride and broader ideals of inclusion. Dana wore a sleek silver-blue dress by Israeli designer Galit Levy. However, after winning the contest for the winner's reprise, she changed into a flamboyant Jean-Paul Gaultier ensemble with a rainbow-colored feather bolero from the designer's Haute Couture 1997 collection. Tina Rosenberg captures this significance. Quote, "The symbolic coming out of the Eurovision took place with Dana International's winning performance, Diva, in 1998. Prior to this, Eurovision's gay appeal, while present, was considered closeted." End of quote. This marked a decisive shift, situating LGBTQI plus visibility at the heart of the competition, central to its cultural identity. Subsequent performances continued to expand queer visibility. You might be familiar with Marija Serifovic, who performed Molitva for Serbia in 2007 in a rather understated appearance. She wore a minimalist black business suit that hid her body, making her, quote, gender ambivalent. Her costume and overall act disrupted conventions of Eurovision's typical glamour to convey gender non-conformity and intimacy between women. Rosenberg elaborates that Serifovich's presentation is best understood through the lens of lesbian camp, a category often overlooked in Eurovision queer discourse. As Horn highlights, Serifovich's androgynous lead presence was contrasted with her high femme backing vocalists in fitted, curve-accentuating tuxedos, high heels, and long hair, whose clasped hands with symbolic red nail polish formed hearts at the finale, staging a collective gesture of female solidarity. It might be too small, but the hands put together were forming little hearts. This act of costumed symbolism unsettled the dominance of gay male camp, creating a rare moment of lesbian visibility on the Eurovision stage. By contrast, the same year, Verka Serduchka's drag persona offered a flamboyant, camp satire of post-Soviet cultural aesthetics. Dressed in a shiny silver metallic ensemble, topped with a mirror ball and a star, Serduchka embodied a hybrid identity described by some as carnivalesque, but also as self-conscious parody. Despite controversy at his home country, Serduchka achieved celebrity cult status, still today, I would say, with fans adopting the iconic costume as a symbolic artifact of Eurovision culture and reproduced it in multiple ways. We have an example here with the hat. Rosenberg interprets such drag performances as theatrical commentaries that place gender norms in quotation marks, demonstrating how Eurovision costuming destabilizes fixed categories of identity. Following a few years later, Conchita Wurst's victory for Austria in 2014 further underscored Eurovision's role in gender representation. Performing the song Rise Like a Phoenix in a floor-length gold gown paired with a full beard, Conchita staged a powerful clash of feminine and masculine signifiers. This deliberate blending of gender codes challenged normative binaries, inviting audiences to embrace queer hybridity. Queer scholar Heiko Mochenbacher has noted that such performances have facilitated, quote, greater queer visibility, in its turn facilitating a gradual integration of queers into the European mainstream. End of quote. This confirms that costumes in Eurovision can operate as a coded and embodied visual text, signaling both belonging and resistance. As Lemisch argues, the Eurovision Song Contest enables participants to perform identities that might be marginalized in other public contexts. Beyond mere entertainment, Eurovision's visual flamboyance, drawing on drag, glam, and camp traditions, creates space for critical identity performance that defies social norms. More recently, these dynamics have intersected with debates on non-binary and gender-fluid representation. In a contemporary extension of this legacy, Nemo Mettler, the openly non-binary Swiss artist who won Eurovision 2024 with the Code, embodied this shift by performing in a gender-fluid pale pink and salmon orange outfit designed by Malmö-based designer Linnea Samir Khalil. Nemo's costume is a blend of minimalism with a pale pink tights and a plain flared short skirt, and maximalism with a voluminous soft tulle jacket. The unconventional design of the jacket has a playful sculptural volume, exuding a feeling of a vibrant, blossoming flower garden. Nemo's costume visually and thematically aligned with the song's exploration of identities that exist, quote, somewhere between the O's and ones, as indicated in the lyrics, serving as a metaphorical breaking of binary codes and a declaration of non-binary identity. Their performance symbolizes Eurovision's ongoing role in expanding the possibilities of gendered self-expression. Nemo's win catalyzed renewed debates about non-binary recognition in Switzerland, with political advocates urging constitutional reforms to include a third gender designation. This evolution demonstrates how Eurovision itself continues to serve as a platform for negotiating and celebrating evolving understandings of gender and identity in contemporary Europe. Across its history and diverse stagings, Eurovision demonstrates how costume evolves as an active performance medium. Costume design in the Eurovision Song Contest is far more than a support element of spectacle alone. Operating in dialogue with music, lyrics, movement, and scenography, costume is a critical performance component that amplifies storytelling, reinforces cultural narratives, and reflects both contemporary fashions and broader technological advancements. And this is one of the most developed, let's say, large-scale expressions of costume as surface for mapping digital projection. It's Estonia from 2018. It also contests and reshapes personal and collective identities, opening a space to reframe understandings of gender politics on an international stage. And here, the example of France, embracing different, for example, bodily identities and body types. A distinctive feature of Eurovision is its dual spectatorship. The live audience in the arena and the far larger audience watching via broadcast. On-screen close-ups, editing, and digital overlays reshape the performance, transforming costume into both a garment and an image. This tension between live materiality and mediated representation positions Eurovision as a key site for exploring how costume can operate simultaneously across multiple registers on performance and multiple media. And here we see the performance of Greece from the contest in 2021, where what you see on the left is what the people saw on television and through screens, where green screen would make the body disappear. And what we see on the right is what the live audience would see. Yeah, so they would see the technology, the backstage, which is quite interesting. The growing presence of mobile technologies and social media has further expanded these dimensions. Audiences, performers, and creative teams now share rehearsals, dressing room preparations, and backstage adjustments in real time. These glimpses, often inaccessible, not often only feed fan culture, but also reveal the collaborative and technical labor of costume that underpins each performance, highlighting Eurovision as a multi-layered event spanning live stagecraft, broadcast television, and digital circulation. Yet, despite this growing visibility, official Eurovision credits remain focused almost exclusively on musical authorship. Designers, directors, choreographers, and creative technologists, whose work often defines and determines the resonance of a performance, are rarely acknowledged on the Eurovision official platforms. Recognizing these hidden contributions is not only fair but necessary if Eurovision is to be understood as a truly collaborative artistic production. Ultimately, Eurovision costume design exemplifies the evolving boundaries of 21st century performance. At once material and mediated, bodily and digital, costume here becomes a transmaterial interface that links music, technology, and narrative. To acknowledge costume centrality is to recognize Eurovision not just as a music contest, but as a pioneering space of performance innovation where design drives both spectacle and meaning. Thank you. This was my talk.
Thank you very much, Professor Pantuovaki, for a vibrant look at the Eurovision stage. We have a few minutes for questions or comments from audience. Does anyone have any question?
Can I make one question? Why are rings an important element of costumes on Eurovision?
Why? Sorry?
Why rings
Wings.
are important element of costumes on Eurovision?
I think I showed at least two, right? And there's more examples. There's more examples. I think this is a question that connects to, the connotations and the symbolism of what wings can be, and not only on Eurovision, but in theater in general. They have symbolic meaning. And we are talking, of course, there are wings which relate to animals and the animalesque and insects, like the butterflies we saw. There's more examples of that, but then there are also these conceptual wings which relate to angels or protectors or wings of freedom. So I think that these are the meanings that can be attributed and make winds one of the preferred, let's say, elements. Primarily the concept of freedom, the concept of free expression. And of course, at the same time, especially when the wings expand, there is also the purely, let's say, design aspect. They expand the body on the stage. They offer a powerful presence, let's say. So it's a combination of meaning and I would say like visual performance. Yeah.
Thank you.
Professor, thank you for coming here with us today. I wanted to ask you if you maybe had some time to explore the the connection with the Eurovision costume evolving, impacting maybe the costume design in a theater.
We see a lot of connections. I have been following Eurovision many years because I think it's very interesting for anybody who works in live performance, and also of people working in television and in film because of this combination. I think the connection to theater is less clear. Theater has a strong connection still to dramaturgy, narrative storytelling. I would say I see stronger connection to fashion, developments in fashion, especially with the technological explosion of, for example, wearable electronics, lights, all of that. And at the same time, connections with concert performance. So not so much theater as such, but concert performance. So there are global singers from U2, OK Go, or Laura Pausini, or many, many others, Katy Perry, and so on, who have had performances in parallel similar to what we have seen in Eurovision, or Eurovision acts following the same trends, especially in relation to technology. And of course, the fashion. The more you see, this is now 70 years this year. In those 70 years, as you see the development of Eurovision, you see somehow the history of dress, the history of fashion. If you look at the early years, the long, more conservative dresses in the 50s, and then suddenly the miniskirts in the 60s were on the stage, and then, the more boho styles. And so we see that development, and I have recently written about that, the parallels between fashion and costume, and also the connections between technological development, technological innovation, and costume as part also of Eurovision. There will be at the end of in May, with this 70-year celebration, there is a new book coming out, which is called Designing Eurovision, and it talks about the stage, the sets, the technology, and about costume. So I have written about costume there, if you want to have a look.
Thank you so much. We are looking forward to your new work. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you.